How is it?
I see both of us, but that's better. I can see your movement now. Okay.
Wonderful. So I want you to start to inhale through your nose and exhale, open mouth. Like windshield wipers, so to speak, huh? Just in a circular motion. As if you want to wash your windows clean, and the windows of your eyes, the gateway to your soul. Last 10. Inhale and bring your elbows back. Exhale and bring your arms forward and parallel, palms facing the ground. You round your spine all the way. Inhale, bring your elbows back. Lift your chin, chest. Exhale, round. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, nose. Exhale, open mouth. Wiggle even your jaw to release any tension you might hold in. Now you can do this easily sitting on the chair. We always want to keep our spine moving and fluid. Last 10 and 1. Inhale and bring your elbows back, palms facing forward, arch your spine, suspend your breath, hold it. And exhale, rest your hands onto your knees, eyes stay closed. And then from here, I want you to move your head in all kinds of different directions and movements, up and down, side to side, as if you want to unscrew your head from your neck and your shoulders, and as if you're trying very hard how to get it absolutely loose. So this is a great exercise. So we're not staying in one rotating movement. We're just always trying different movements, because this way we activate the little brain stem, which can be always seen like the conductor of an orchestra in the back of your neck. Yeah, it's tiny, but it's so effective. It's actually what gives spark to our brain. So, and in our society and in our lifestyle, this little brainstem doesn't get often enough exercise, so to speak. So move your head wildly without injuring yourself. So be gentle at the same time. But avoid a specific pattern. Find new ways of moving. It's also a great place when you're going outside, that you lift your head here up so that the sun can shine onto the spot in the back of your neck, just for a little while. Yeah, you don't have to get a sunburn, but bring light into this area. It's a really powerful place. So we do a little bit more. They always suggest in the Korean yoga to do this for 3 minutes a day. It allows for some deposits to be cracked open. Good. And then we come into center. Inhale through the nose, exhale, open mouth. 2 more times. And then we bring our arms, we bend the arms, the palms facing forward. And then you bring your elbows up, like parallel to the floor. And this morning you keep your face, you look forward, you're not taking your head with you. Just your torso moves from side to side, but you're still staring, so to speak, through your closed eyes into the screen. Inhale left, exhale right. Really engage your midsection. Inhale into the center. Bring your arms overhead and you bring them out to 60 degrees, and then exhale and the fists come towards your shoulders. Inhale, extend your arms out. Exhale, fist towards your shoulders. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Really stretch your fingers and then make a fist. When you bring the fist towards your shoulders, lift your diaphragm. Feel how you're lifting your diaphragm with each move. Yeah, so that allows more space for the digestive organs. It's also great for your lungs and for your heart. Good. And inhale, bring your arms out to the side. Exhale, place your left hand onto your belly, right hand on top, and then we do one specific pranayama to activate and stimulate the big blood supply. Yeah. I don't know if they see me right now, Nirmala. I think you moved us back.
I'm sorry, Siddhi. I'm trying to get just you, not both of us.
That was better. Nikki, that was better. Whatever you just did before was just Siddhi.
Right now.
back.
Now?
No, now it's just you.
Siddhi, you speak. I'll mute and see if.
Okay, I want you to bring your right hand on top of your left hand. Yeah, they are on your navel, on your belly button. Now on 2 segmented exhalation, I want you to move your navel towards your spine. And on 1 inhalation, you breathe back into your hands. So on the inhalation, you're expanding. On the exhalation, with 2 segmented exhalation, you push the navel towards your spine. It's like keep going. We have a big blood supply in our gut. And this way we start to activate it, go more towards our upper chest and towards our brain. Inhale deeply, suspend your breath, push the navel out. Allow yourself to sit with your Buddha belly for a moment. And then exhale, rest your hands onto your knees and be ready for Nirmala. Nirmala, you need to unmute yourself. You muted yourself. Okay.
Is it good? Never again should I be host. I fail at this host thing completely. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm sorry for all that commotion around trying to get the screen right. Anyway, we're here. That's good. 1 second. I'm caught on my carpet. I'm having a morning of like disarray. Let me try to get centered here. Let's see if we can accomplish this. Good morning, ladies. Oh, goodness. Okay, there, let's just take a breath. We're here. This week, City and I had asked for a few questions. We would like to take our time together and really explore the areas and the questions that as a group we have, and see where that goes. So we received several questions, and I'm going to just take one, the first one that came, and we'll see how it goes. We may only be able to handle one each session, but I would really appreciate any additional input. It's really lovely to hear what's coming from you and what you would like to gain from being in our circle, and what kinds of topics and questions, and what is your inquiry in your journey? Because inevitably what you are inquiring about is also happening for other women in our group. So please feel free to text them or email them to City or to me. Or you can also add in our chat section when we gather. But I don't know if Catherine is with us today. She is. Catherine. I am going to post Catherine's question because it was the first one that I received. And I thought it was very insightful about how it is that we are journeying in this lifetime. So she asked about, her question was the soul's deep yearning and how to best listen. So much of what we spend our time doing is maintaining ourselves, our homes, our lives, and none of it matters since our spiritual goals and destination are the target. It's a great topic, great question, or great observation, I should say. So I'd like to start by saying, if we can be in agreement that life is sacred, if that can be our fundamental underlying agreement, then we can move from there. So I think that we could probably agree, we're here, we must believe on some level that life is sacred. And if we can hold that possibility, then we can also begin to understand that if life is sacred and holy and reverent, then that everything is, that we can't have it both ways. We can't have it only sacred when it's agreeable to us and not sacred when it's not agreeable to us. So then we're picking, well, this is sacred because it looks this way and it's comfortable for me, and this situation or this person is not. If life's sacred, it's all sacred. It's either all sacred or none of it's sacred, but we can't have only certain pieces be sacred. So if we start to look at that, we start to say, well, if everything is sacred, then every movement that I make in the day is also sacred. Every offering that I have, whether it's to my pet or to my spouse or to my neighbor or to the Pachamama, everything that I'm doing is sacred. And if we start to hold our experience of being in this embodied form as sacredness offering itself back to itself all the time, all the time. Everything that's happening is the immersion of sanctity being offered in different directions. So now I start to think, well, if that's true, then making the bed is sacred. Like everything is. Making a meal is sacred. We know when we tend to someone or something that is in need, we feel, well, that's sacred because it's an offering. They need my help and I'm helping them, and that's sacred. But it's sacred even if it isn't something that's in need. Just tending to our life is sacred. So in India, we have a practice that's called Bhakti Sadhana, and Bhakti means devotion. And it's the sadhana that's included in many of our trainings. And many people there actually practice it regularly. And the practice of Bhakti is looking at everything that comes in front of you in a day as you're walking, everything that comes, not searching things out, but everything that comes into your path, whether it's a person or a situation or what, doesn't matter. Anything that comes into your path, you bow down to it. And we do it, we bow down, we will take about 20 minutes a day and we'll just walk. We'll take a walk and we bow down to the trees and we bow down to the buildings and we bow down to the people that cross in front of us. Anything that comes into our sight, we bow down to it. And we start to have this appreciation that everything that's around us has a certain sacredness to it, and that we are no better than anything else. That's just a construct in our mind that somehow, because we have a higher order consciousness as a human being, and the ability for our brain to have conclusions and observations, that somehow we are better than other beings that aren't as smart, or maybe the creatures or the inanimate objects, that we somehow have a higher hierarchy. And that's involving our ego. And once our ego is a piece of that, it's very difficult for us to see sacredness in everything, because judgment and ego hold hands. They're little buddies, they go together. So if we're utilizing our ego to make decisions about what is important and what is sacred and what is not, then we're in judgment. If we believe that this experience is holy, that just being here on this planet is holy, then everything here is holy. And whatever we're called to tend, even when it doesn't look as interesting or as maybe even as selfless, maybe we think, well, that's not really helping someone, so it's not maybe more self-serving. Everything we do has a purpose. Everything. And if we start to see it in a light where we're not making judgments about what is and what isn't, then we'll start bowing more deeply to everything that appears in our life. And then the tasks that we're doing in our life and the tending that Catherine was asking about is actually the spiritual journey. We don't need to go to a temple or to India we don't have to go anywhere. Your life is a spiritual journey, all on its own. From the time you wake up in the morning, if you want it to be that in your experience, you can include it as being sacred and part of your journey. You can invite in the daily tasks that you do and do each one by bowing down to it, giving thanks that you get to do that activity, even if it's the dishes. That we're taught at the ashram that every movement we make is sacred. Washing a dish is as important as tending to the temple. In the temple, scrubbing the floor is just as important as creating an arti and offering something to a visitor. Everything is just as important as the next. So we can walk through our day, excuse me, we can walk through our day in this continual event after event of sacred belonging. Everything, every movement we make, if we want to perceive it as being part of the sanctity that we've decided is life, then everything we do. So how do we do that? Because we have so many judgments in our mind about what is more favorably spiritual and what isn't. We have to reprogram our subconscious that every movement we make, if we make it in a heart space and we make it from an offering, we're offering ourselves to do whatever it is that we're being called to do in that moment, whether it's cleaning up the room, washing the dishes, tending to someone who needs support. It's all sacred. And we're showing up as holy beings, offering sacred moments into the world with every breath. Every breath is sacred. It takes practice. It takes a practice. So when we're in the ashram, we physically do this for a number of days in a row, so many minutes a day, where you are just bowing down as you walk through the ashram. And so we know who's in bhakti sadhana because they're bowing down to every tree and every plant and every flower. But they're moving with such beauty and such intention to recognize that everything coming through is sacred. That I start to feel that experience with them, just observing them. It changes how I am. If you observe a person who is clearly experiencing life as being sacred and you can feel it in them, you feel that in their energy, you feel it in the way they're approaching their life, it changes how you experience that moment. So we have an opportunity to not only shift ourselves, but to be shifting the consciousness of everything around us. Because when you change that you're holding something as sacred, the energy of that experience changes, whether it's a person or a pet or a plant or the room, the space you're in. If all of those are held in a sacredness to you, the whole energy has shifted. Now you're having a different experience of your life and you're going through the steps. You're taking it with intentionality and with peacefulness. Each step that you take as you walk and you move through your day is another opportunity to be embracing the sacred. So we don't have to distinguish between my life of the daily tasks that I have to do, the maintenance of my life. In India, they have three gods that they put together. You look at in all the traditions, there are threes. It comes up in threes, and they have three gods. One is the creator, one is the destroyer, and one is the maintainer. So everything that is destroyed and then recreated into a new form has to be maintained. Without the maintenance, there is no space for that creative existence to continue. Whatever has been created has to be maintained. We know that from our gardens to our house, to our bodies, to our relationships. They all have to be maintained. That's part of the creative, holy, sacred process. So vacuuming is as sacred as reading something from the Bible. Everything is sacred. And if we can start seeing that movement in our lives, then we'll no longer see anything as outside of our spiritual journey. There's no inside or outside. It's all inside. Everything's inside the journey, all of it. Every step you take, every conversation you have, every moment that you sit with yourself. It doesn't matter if you're on a yoga mat or cushion doing a meditation or you're doing your dishes. It doesn't matter. If your intention is to have the sacred be present in all of your life, all of it, then everything is. If you can't do that and you decide it's only sacred when I go to church, or it's only sacred when I go to temple, or when I'm studying, or when I'm meditating, if you decide that's the only sacred part, you have released the sanctity of life from your life, because you can't separate it that way. If you can't believe that it's all sacred, you can't have any of it sacred. It won't work that way, because the qualities that we bring into that decision to make some things sacred and some things not is our ego and our judgment. And when those are persistent in the way we're showing up in the world, we cannot be in our spiritual journey in its fullness. That's why we're going through these processes and these practices, so that we can strip away the layers that are keeping us from seeing everything as sacred. And we want to have ourselves stripped down to where our intersection with life is a sacred moment. So the best way to do this is to put Post-it notes on everything. Everything is sacred. This is sacred. That is sacred. Post it everywhere, on the dashboard of your car, on your telephone, on your spouse. Post it everywhere. Everything is sacred. Post it above in the kitchen, above your sink where you're washing the dishes. I mean, in the Buddhist tradition, dishwashing, and even at the ashram, dishwashing is a huge part of the process of the day. The way that you watch monks I've had the great privilege of watching monks in a monastery do the dishes. It is just the gentleness and the movement, and they are completely 100% with that process of washing that dish. And there's no distraction over here or there. They're just with that dish, with the process. Then they move to the next thing and they're with that. And maybe it's walking, to watch a monk walk from one space to the next with this intentionality of each step, putting the foot down. And they're just not worried about anything else. They're just in that space because that's the spiritual moment. And then it leads to the next moment. This is our journey, ladies. That if we can see this embodied form in this life that we have in front of us as being the sacred offering that we've been given, then everything we do, there's never a separation. There's never a spiritual moment. It's all a spiritual moment. And then we'll be able to find that the tasks don't become so meaningless. They don't become drudgery that we have to do. Paying the bills, doing whatever it is that has to be done. It's maintenance of our spiritual journey. Some things are maintenance, some things are creative, you're manifesting, some things are you're doing the destruction mode, you're tearing off, releasing layers. We're doing all of those things, but they're all part of the journey. They're not separate from. So I invite you this week to start viewing every movement that your body and your mind takes as imagining it as a major, juicy, sacred piece of the journey, whatever it is, and start moving from one of those moments to the next and see that your whole life is just a series of little independent sacred moments and experiences. And you're going to find it's really juicy. It's really good. So I invite you to have a really lovely week with this. And thank you, Catherine, for the question. Really beautiful. Right? The core of everything. Like if we get this, everything else is just another little, add-on. If you get this is like the baseline for our whole being, our whole beingness, why we're here.
Thank you, Nikki.
Yeah. Thanks, Catherine. All right, Miss City, let's unmute you. I'm just like so bad at this. Okay, can you unmute yourself? I'm not ever going to be host again.
Be in the moment. Take this as
No judgment.
Okay. So let me just see if I can get here into the screen on top of everything. Okay, let's go for this one. Okay. I think those are the moments where just acceptance is required. so we use the Gyan Mudra. And I want to point out, especially to those who are not in regular classes of mine. So I see a lot of Gyan Mudras. Yeah, Gyana Mudra is actually the mudra of great knowledge and wisdom. It's like a seal. But if you hold it like this with your fingers, you use both hands, sure enough, then that's not really efficient. But you see that even on yoga journal or everything, everybody is holding yoga mudra like this. This is not really working, because you're not activating the meridians in all these fingers. So you're actually decreasing their energy. So you want to straighten these three fingers and you want to have them touch. And when you rest this mudra on your knees, Yeah, the back of your hands touches on your knees, then those fingers are pointing just slightly towards the ground, just slightly. Now you're absolute an activation of your heart meridian, small intestine meridian, triple burner, yeah, and circulation, sex, and the pericardium around your heart, while you're actually easing your mind. So in this mudra, and you hold it on both hands, resting it on your knees, I want you to connect to the source. Yeah, and what Nirmala said is bowing down to everything. It's actually bowing down to the source. Everything is source for us. So, and that's what's called in the Sikh tradition the Adi. The Adi is the primal power. Yeah. So, and I want us to connect the Adi with the Shakti, with the feminine. So, bowing to the divine feminine. Inhaling, mentally reciting Adi, A-D-I. Exhaling, mentally reciting Shakti. Inhaling, mentally reciting Adi. Exhaling, mentally reciting Shakti. Inhaling Adi. Exhaling Shakti. And connecting yourself with the primal feminine power within you. And keeping your eyes closed. Allowing yourself to go deeper within yourself. Allowing every word that Nirmala shared with us and every insight and wisdom to sink a little deeper. Taking the Adi and the Shakti to be present in the moment. And we're keeping our eyes closed, releasing the mantra. And feeling into the feminine source within us. And in this moment, we are here right now. Gently bring your hands into prayer pose. And this morning we bow towards each other, to all our differences, our common ground of background, our like-mindedness. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Wishing you a wonderful week. We'll see you next Saturday. Thank you all. Let me see. Okay, my dear, I need you now to go to stop at the bottom, stop the recording.